Well, it's a beautiful day. After several days of poor, wet weather, we've got the sun back, getting into the 70s. We're going to have days into the 70s, nudging 80s this week. And so hopefully we will still have something of a honey flow. The last 3 days have been down in the low 60s to high 50s and a lot of rain. The rain is a real help, but that cold temperature is something that can kill a honey flow stone dead. So the encouraging thing to see at the moment is that the bees are still reasonably busy. They're not terrifically busy. If there is a honey flow, it's not a huge one. We have some activity. None of the hives have clusters of bees in front of them, which is very good. Once we start getting clusters of bees at the entrances, these are bees that are hanging around waiting for instructions as to where the honey flow might be. Now, all of my hives were supered up before I left for the 4th of July weekend. So, let's have a quick look here. I'm not expecting much in the certainly have bees in these supers, but there's not much here. These are for comb honey production. There's absolutely nothing going on in this to speak of. This one here. Some combs that got built last year but never got actually filled. So not a great deal happening there. But the supers below, maybe they're getting those filled up. They were filling these up nicely. See some nice white cappings there. These are looking good. Very nice, medium frame, pretty full of honey. Nice white cappings there, absolutely beautiful. Hopefully we'll see more of the same in the super below. Let's have a look. And the super below filling up with honey really well. So this is one of the ones that was really filling up early. This one I put on subsequent, and that one was later. So we'll get this super off pretty soon, and this super off for honey pretty soon. Yeah, so I'll be going around the hives this week and rearranging some of these hives so that we can take some of the honey off. Some don't have queen excluders on, and they need queen excluders moving further down. Say for example, like this hive here, there's a queen excluder up here, and I'll be able to take a super or two of honey off it if I take the queen excluder off. This huge hive here, I've got a lot of honey on. I know that this super is full of honey, this super is full of honey, these are filling with honey, and this one's just about empty up here. So I've got a way to go, but what I'm going to actually end up doing is I'll take these off because they still need filling up some more, and I'm going to put my fume board here, drive these bees down, take these two boxes off, and put these supers back on. I'll do the same thing with a few of these hives and end up with the queen excluders where I want them, and hopefully we'll have some honey to harvest this week. Have a quick look inside this hive, one or two hives. Let's see what we get. expecting there to be much in here. However, it's absolutely full of bees. All full of bees than I was expecting. See what the weight is like. Don't have to take individual frames off. It's about half full of honey. It's about weighs, I'd say, 15 pounds of honey in that box. Now this hive below the queen excluder, this super below the queen excluder, I hadn't had a chance to put the queen excluder on before. I just had to screw them on. But this is much more full of honey. But there may be brood in here. If there's brood in here, it'll take a while to get the bees out. Honey ready to harvest here. Now we do have a little bit of brood in one of the two of these frames. This one here I can see some drone brood in. In terms of getting bees out of a honey super, the problems start when you have frames with brood in like this. This is where a queen excluder becomes really useful. Because there's brood here, in here, it's hard to get the bees out of these frames until that brood has emerged. But there's just a little bit of drone brood left in here, nothing uncapped, all capped. So this will be emerging shortly. Still be a week before this stuff comes out. So, not that I'm looking to save the drone brood, but this is where a fume board will work really well to get the bees out instead of a bee escape. So that super is really full of honey. Apart from that brood area, it's entirely full of honey. A few frames around here and checkerboarded this super. We put a few frames of brood upstairs, so this will be a bit of a hodgepodge of different stages. Foundation to be drawn, some backfilling brood, more foundation to be drawn, frames of honey. Just leave this going. Plenty of work to be done. nukes are performing here with the honey super on. Certainly working on the supers here. Wouldn't say that there's a great deal of honey in here, but they're coming up here, getting to work on it. Working communally upstairs. There's plenty of honey here. Maybe a pound. Maybe a pound per frame. Just getting up here. This deep box is filling beautifully. All honey. Beautifully drawn comb. But the queen's been up here as well. I've got the queen excider, so this part has become third brood chamber. Mostly full of honey, but we've also got brood up here. So we're going to spend the day tomorrow shaking bees down into the lower brood chambers and getting the queen down there. It's something that should have been done 2 weeks ago, maybe 3. Brood and honey. I actually ran out of queen excluders, I have to admit. So that's one of the reasons why this job wasn't done. I ran out of queen excluders. I was selling them all. So my queen excluders arrived over the weekend, so I can get round and put some more queen excluders on. So not a lot going on in the hives right now. The honey flow is certainly slowing down here in Hamden. There is a flow on, but not a huge one. So we'll let the bees get on with it. But I might go around to a few of these hives, particularly some of these big ones, and get some of the supers off and do a little bit of extracting. That way we can reuse those supers shortly. But remembering my priority is to get more combs drawn out. So I might take the odd hive that if there's no honey flow, set it up with new foundation and just feed them to get more comb built that way. It's really not essential that they, in fact it's far better they build on sugar syrup than they build with honey, because otherwise I'm just throwing honey away. So during the dearth might be a good time to get honey supers, or get wax drawn out, not honey supers but wax drawn out in my deep supers for brood production next year, by putting an empty deep on a hive and start feeding it, because those aren't going to be the honey supers that aren't going to be honey supers, they'll be the supers being drawn out for wax production or comb production. And I can always feed that sugar syrup back to the bees, or give it to nukes next year. Anyway, it's a warm day. It's still the 4th of July weekend. Gonna have a barbecue shortly, and so I'll sign off. I'm Peter Cowan, the Bee Whisperer. See you next time.